Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is for you. This is Matthew Brazil, and I'm your instructor for History 322U, Modern East Asia, at Portland State University. I am giving you this audio file. There's no video accompanying it for now. I hope to be able to do something more standard in a week or I hope less, that will involve slides on YouTube or some other source along with accompanying audio. But for now, we have to work with this audio file and the PowerPoint that I've already posted on the D2L website. So on slide 2 of the PowerPoint that says Administrative Matters, I won't bore you by reading through all this stuff. It's pretty self-explanatory. I just want to emphasize that your first online assignment is due 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 10th of January. It's a 250-page, 250-word, be still my heart, 250-word discussion on the readings. And as you can see, if you take a look at the back and forth on the discussion today, I've written something that indicates that you're not expected to take in the entire scope of the readings in 250 words. Rather, do as much as you can. Give me your thoughts and exchange them with your classmates on what you've been looking at. The wider the better, but if you want to take a look at one particular topic, that would be good. This is simply like being in a lecture, not a lecture, but like being in a section where everybody has something to say. So that's the idea. You'll see that these texts are available in the the PSU bookstore. All of them are available as of today, and they're also many of them are widely available online, sometimes at a cheaper price. I especially recommend the optional reading, the Fukuzawa biography. It's autobiography, rather. It's very good. Let's go to slide 3, the requirements and goals. This is all from the syllabus, so again, I'm not going to read it to you line by line. It's important to understand where people think they come from, where they think they're going, and to be able to develop a sharp critical ability to evaluate not only what people think about themselves, but what scholars have written about them, and certainly what comes out from the news media about a place like Asia, which has gone through rapid change over the past 200 years, and great change. And this results in news media coverage that's often somewhat shallow, and it comes to rather quick conclusions about complicated ideas. So this is a problem that I hope to give you the ability to handle in a better way. And the bottom line there is to help you prepare for your post-college career by being able to absorb large numbers of facts about complicated situations and distill them into a written product that a busy manager would not only want to read, but would want to act on. That's the sort of thing that sets you apart in the modern workplace, and it is increasingly needed as information becomes more and more available, yet more and more confusing. Let's go to slide 5, skip over slide 4 there, and start to talk about geographical realities. Australia has been called the lucky country. At first it was in an ironic sense and from a critical vein because of its weather, geographical isolation, natural resources. They have often thought of themselves as being lucky, 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 as Kylie Minogue once said. However, they have nothing on the United States, which is, I call it here, the gold standard in geographical advantage. You can see from this map the dark areas on the map of the United States and Canada are the places where there is a concentration of agricultural wealth. This is a place that has generally moderate weather with predominant winds from the west that carry moisture over the entire continent. There are more seaports than you'll find in any other nation that have enabled the U.S. to have a global outreach from its shores for trade and other matters. And the navigable rivers of the United States are also unparalleled in their reach inside the continent, and they have enabled the expansion of national power and trade in the United States to be very rapid in historical terms. There are few countries that have even most of these advantages, and there is no country that has all of them. This has resulted in not only the successful Western expansion that you will not see paralleled, continental expansion that you will not see paralleled anywhere else, with the exception of Russia, and it's been sparse. It's not like you can see the same sort of advantages across Russia that you can see across the United States in terms of trade, in terms of agriculture. But it has drawn immigrants in large numbers, and that has been an economic advantage. And immigrants are still coming to the United States for the same basic economic reasons as they did 100 years ago. So what does this mean? Go to slide 6. This means that the Americans have open access to the world's oceans, unlike China, as we'll see in a few slides hence. There are no bottlenecks. There's no hindrance to power projection overseas. To prevent invasion, the Americans developed a formidable navy some time ago, and now that the United States has successfully developed a navy that can reach to virtually any corner of the world and control the oceans there, it has become a de facto empire. Not in name, but in fact. So that means that the U.S. is the only land of plenty in the world that is relatively safe from ground invasion because its neighbors are relatively disadvantaged. And it means that Americans are specifically advantaged, not so much due to them being Americans, as the sort of thing we tend to hear at every presidential election, how we're a special people and all that stuff. Our advantages are mostly due to where we are, where we live, and the way that has enabled us to build a rich country that can project power anywhere. Let's compare that situation to Asia. Go on past slide 7 to slide 8. In Asia, many countries, really most, face problems with competing ethno-linguistic groups. The U.S. has managed, by contrast, to integrate and absorb ethno-linguistic groups after a few generations. This hasn't been perfect, but it's been done very well. Unlike a country like France, we don't have a Ministry of Culture. That's a subject that the strength of the U.S. culture and whether or not that's a good thing could be the subject of an entire course or a PhD thesis or several books. But it is what it is. We do not face problems with competing ethno-linguistic groups, whereas you'll see that all over Asia in almost every country. You'll see a core, like you have in Thailand from Bangkok to the north, and restive minorities in recently annexed outlying regions that the central government sees as potentially subversive. You'll also see strong external threats, history of hostile invasion, and a sense of being on the defensive. You see that in almost every Asian country. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure which Asian country does not feel, its leaders that is, do not feel on the defensive. If we go on to slide 9, the largest example of this is China, with its very significant limitations, its very rugged terrain in the interior, It's hostile terrain in the west. It's long coastline that has bottlenecks that disadvantage power projection outwards and enable a hostile external power to blockade it. And a country with a population concentrated along the coastline for those reasons of rugged terrain and hostile environment in other places. This is one of the things that I think disadvantages China in the long range, and one reason why personally I believe that they are not going to be the rising power that everybody thinks, or many people think anyway. Therefore, countries in Asia, going on to slide 10, need to worry about consolidating control of frontier regions to protect their core, and they need to expend a lot of energy controlling their populations. And again, this generally puts them on the defensive. The picture there you see is a propaganda poster, and the idea that herds people love to read Marx and Lenin or ever did is, of course, one of the laugh tracks of modern Asian history. I'm going to try stopping this recording here because I know there's a time limit, and we'll continue in a second recording on slide 11.